Sometimes you just watch something too weird to come up with an opening gag for. Centaurworld. Haven't seen the whole thing. This is only a review of season 1. I'll also note here. My kiddo decided to have me watch this. She'd already watched it with her mother, but she wanted me to see it now too. She decided that we were going to watch this after we finished off the first season of The Ghost of Molly McGee, which is a cute, fun show that I have no real significant thoughts on. So I don't plan to do a review of that one, but it's fine. It's cute. It's nice. This this is, oh boy. How, I don't know how to explain this or describe it. I enjoyed it. I can say that, at least with some degree of authority. But it's real weird. So it starts out very serious. A very smooth sort of realistic art style of a war going on. There's a girl on a horse, and you hear voiceover. You're supposed to think it's the girl. I actually cued in that it was the horse pretty early on, but like they've got this amulet and they're fleeing and fighting these horrifying monsters, and the horse goes over a cliff with the amulet, and it takes her to Centaurworld, which brings us to our first really weird visual gimmick, which is actually brilliant, but boy, it took a little bit for me to get used to, which is that Horse shows up there, and yes, she is just called Horse. She shows up there, and she still is looking in her very well-defined, more or less realistic art style, surrounded by absolutely, completely, seriously stylized, very cartoonish, bouncy, can like twist their heads all the way around, wobbly limbed centaurs. And like practically everything's a centaur. The grass blades are centaurs. They're grass tars. And yeah, so we meet the other characters. The big one being a pink llama tar. And then there's Derpleton, who's a giraffe. And we've got Ched, who's a bird with a massive chip on his shoulder. And there's Zulius, who's a zebra. And Zulius should have annoyed me because he's kind of that campy, flamboyant, obsessed with his appearance, effeminate kind of thing. I did enjoy him, though. I think good comedic timing can do a lot. Honestly, in an odd way, good comedic timing kind of sells the whole show. Because a lot of what it's doing, if you were to just sketch it out on paper, I'd be like, I don't know about that. But I think what can often sour me so much on characters like Zulius in other situations, in other pieces of entertainment, is that they are often just presented as, yes, this flamboyant, effeminate, obsessed with his appearance guy is just funny by his nature. Well, no, he's not. This, as ridiculous as all this is on sight, it does not assume that its characters are funny or entertaining or endearing on their own, on just by merit of existing as that character archetype. And in the case of someone like Julius, they really nail the comic timing of what he does. And that makes me okay with it in a way that I'm frequently not. And it's kind of waking me up to how lazy the deployment of these kinds of characters often is. Anyways, that was a little bit of a tangent. There's also Glendale, who's voiced by the creator, who's, I'm actually not 100% sure. She's a kleptomaniac. Other than that, I'm not entirely sure what she is. And there's a lot, boy. So initially, Horse shows up there and makes it her mission to get back to where she came from. And she finds out that she has to take this piece of this amulet that she has. It's a piece of a key. And she can find the other pieces, which are being held by various shamans. She can then reform it, open the gateway, get back. And that gives us a little bit of a road trip movie as Horse, let's just say, goes through some changes over the course of this journey, and other characters, some are just kind of along for the ride. Some seem to go through their own arc, sometimes little mini arcs, sometimes a bit over a more extended period. But other characters get kind of one-off focuses, where you get a little bit of a hint of what's going on behind things, like Zulius gets when they're with the cat tars, or Derpleton gets with the trees. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it's not going to make sense. And like, I'm not even going to try to have it make sense for you. That's not a thing that's going to happen. But it's an interesting blend of tones, because right from the outset, there is a very serious, somber, high danger vibe to it. And then we get to Centaurworld, and it's My Little Pony Friendship is Magic on PCP, kind of thing. But the show doesn't forget that other vibe that it started with, that vibe of there is a great threat out there. And I won't spoil too much on that front, but it doesn't lose that. And it doesn't forget that that's there. And I'll be really curious to see how I feel about season 2. I know it only has the 2 seasons. And given where it left off, it's hard to know where it's going to go from here. Like, narratively, it kind of declares where it's going to go. But I'm like, if that's what you're going to do, that's kind of a whole other thing from what you were doing, at least tonally, in the first season. And I don't think the show's incapable of juggling that. I'm just going to be really curious to see how that pans out. If you enjoy weird animation and, just to toss random weird stuff out there, and not that I think any of this is specifically like Centaurworld, but like, if you happily roll with the likes of Gravity Falls, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, The Owl House, Amphibia, Steven Universe, if you just roll with that kind of level of absurdity, you should give this a shot if you haven't already, because it's a whole thing. Centaurworld. I'm enjoying it so far. I am excited to see the second season. Don't know how quickly I'll get to that. We burned through this season in a day. I mean, granted, like, it was Sunday, it was a weekend, so like, that was kind of what we decided. Well, I guess we'll have that be the thing that we're largely doing today. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see when I get to season 2. It probably won't be for at least a couple of weeks, because Kiddo's not going to want me to watch it without her. But I'll get to it relatively quickly, I expect. Centaurworld. Have you seen this thing? What do you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon's what pays the bills and enables me to, feed myself and my kiddo. So any help you can give there is greatly appreciated, even if you can't. Like, share, subscribe, help me out as well, but don't worry too much about it. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. All right, time to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfullah, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Oliver B., Melinda Walters, Emu Delkey, Leotha Boyd, Toy Loli, Becky Sparks, Frenobulax, The Poodle, Zach, Bookworm, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Adam R.D.L. Taylor, Shayla Gourlay, Brendan LaRose, and TT. Thank you for your support. If you want to hear me try and say your name while this little guy tries to chew on my earrings, well, you can check out the Patreon or the support tiers that get you a shout out. Thanks so much. You are a pain in my butt.